Hey, welcome back to Common Sense OT Security. Today's session is dedicated to those of you who use Microsoft Excel to create an OT asset inventory. And I know there is a lot of you. So what I'm going to do today, I'll show you a cool way to spice your OT asset inventory up using Microsoft Power BI as a means to do some visualizations, analytics, and reporting. And that's actually pretty easy. So let's jump right into it. When you use Excel for your OT asset inventory, I would bet that your table looks something like this. So in every single row, you have information on one specific device. And that device is oftentimes identified by its IP address. Then you might also have a MAC address. You will most likely have vendor and model, maybe also the serial number, and best case, the firmware version or the operating system version. And in many cases, you would use a single worksheet for one network. What you see here is a little bit different. So this table here uses one worksheet for multiple networks, but basically it's the same information because, as you know, you can simply just filter for a specific network here in the typical Excel drop down at the column header. So that really doesn't matter. It's just a little bit more compact if you store the information this way. And then you have the network address, which you most likely will also have in your Excel table. And now let's look at what Power BI could make out of this information. So just in case, for those of you who don't know Power BI, it's a free tool from Microsoft. You can download the desktop version. It's called Power BI Desktop for free from Microsoft.com. And the really interesting feature is that it's super easy to import Excel tables. So you see that button up here, Excel Workbook. So that lets you import Excel files, and Power BI tries to automatically make sense out of your data. And then you have that data exposed here in this rightmost column, where you would find all the various columns of your worksheets in the Excel table, and you can select any of those columns. You see, in our data set, we have worksheet for devices, one for modules, one for network interfaces, software, and vulnerabilities. And we will look at those a little bit later. And any of these data items can be selected for reporting, for visualizations. And as you can see, we have already pre-populated this Power BI report. And as a matter of fact, you can download this template from our website to give you a head start on your reporting dashboard in Power BI. So if you look at this table down here, it's actually pretty similar to what you have just seen in Excel. Okay. So this is just a table. You can expose tables in Power BI, and those tables can be identical to what you have in Excel. The cool stuff comes in with the visualization, like this donut chart here, and with a user-friendly means of slicing and dicing the data. So, for example, right here, we have this what is called a slicer in Power BI that exposes all the individual networks that are in our data set. And don't get confused by those names. They're obfuscated for a purpose. So here you would see something like control net at assembly line 5, for example. So let's just assume I've singled out this particular communications adapter here, or this switch. And I would like to see, well, what else is in that network, in this in queue. So I just select that here with a click, and then the output is restricted to devices in that particular network. And you see there is a bunch of other switches in there. And so that is really rather user-friendly. So, but I think the interesting piece comes in when you look at the other visualization capabilities. So, for example, if I only wanted to see the PLCs, I click this item right here, and then my table output is restricted to PLCs. So I think that's rather user-friendly, but you can do so much more. So another report that we have created in this sample is this hardware report, where you find that table again in the lower part of the report. And you can arrange those columns in whatever way you want. You can move them around. So it's really super easy to create those visualizations in Power BI. Now let's just assume that I would want to do some additional filtering here. I only want to see those sensors that are in my asset inventory, just like so, or only the PLCs. And you can also see that all the other visualizations that are updated live. And that's a really nice feature, because it allows you to arrive at the information that you're looking for so much quicker than if you would have to rely on Excel. And certainly I'm aware that you can also do some donut charts, etc. in Excel, but they're not interactive. So you really gain a lot of functionality by moving over to Power BI. The other thing, very, very interesting here, in my opinion, you can also filter by lifecycle stage. For example, let's just say I only want to see the discontinued product, just like that. Here you go. Here is the table, the result table for anything that's discontinued. I could also include phase out as an example by doing left click and then control and then left click. So that gives me a little bit longer table. So I think you get the point. This is all super quick and gives you the idea of what's going on in a matter of seconds, rather than messing around with the Excel visualization that you might have been doing for the last couple of years. So it really takes the data mining to the next level, and certainly also the documentation part. So just for example, if you think about presenting to management, well, how many phased out devices do we still have from a business continuity risk perspective, and where are those devices? That is super quick here in Power BI. Now, certainly you might ask, well, how do I get this information about product lifecycle stage? And now we are getting to another aspect of this. Let's go back to Excel. So in this Excel table, or in this file, you actually find that information for the devices. So it does come with the product lifecycle stage. Here it is, and the best thing is this is filled automatically. Now, how is that possible? Well, it is possible if you take advantage of our OT-based snapshot service, because it will generate this table, this whole Excel file for you automatically. And we will talk a little bit more about OT-based snapshot in the upcoming weeks, because it's a super cool, or super hot, I would probably better say, super hot new service, where the discovery of your devices is done automatically. The data enrichment is done automatically, like with the product lifecycle stage, and also including the known vulnerabilities, like so. So this is one of the worksheets that is included in a snapshot file, and it tells you right away about your known vulnerabilities. And again, it makes so much more sense to then dump the whole thing into Power BI, where you also find a vulnerabilities report, and where you could investigate right away. For example, just show me those devices with known exploited vulnerabilities, and I just need to click on here. KEV is yes. And these are the devices down here in the lower right table that are affected by known exploited vulnerabilities. And you can see on the left side which those are, and along with their CVSS base core, etc. Now, let's go a little bit more into technical detail behind the scenes, because I suspect you wonder, how is this even possible? This looks like magic. And there is a secret sauce behind that that's actually conceptually very simple. This is only possible if you are able to establish device identity. That means that it is clear for every single row or every single record of information which device it belongs to. And for that, you can obviously not use an IP address, because first of all, you will find duplicate IP addresses in OT all over the place. And you will also find devices with no IP address if you think about field bus devices. So anything that's on a control net, on a device net, circuits, etc., there is no IP address. So you cannot use an IP address as an identifier. So in these tables, you see there is a column called device ID, and it has some identifier in it. The beauty is that with a snapshot service, this device identifier is created automatically. So you don't have to stress your imagination what a good identifier would be. Let me give you one piece of advice. You will not want to use your DNS name or the host name, because again, there will be devices that don't have such a thing. So this is created automatically. You would have a hard time doing this manually, because you would have to take care of all the devices that you need to cover. Let's just say the 20,000 devices that might be in your facility. So that is a stretch. That is done automatically if you use OT-based snapshot. And that is the secret sauce for allowing you to arrive at all these filtering and data mining capabilities. And I'll show you why. So in Power BI, if we go to the model, there is the model view of this data set, then you will see it right away. So we use the device ID as a reference to link all those tables together. How cool is that? And for that reason, Power BI knows right away, those vulnerabilities, they belong to that particular device. Or similar with software, installed software. So that's another report that we have generated here. All those software applications, you can link them to particular devices, because that device ID is also coded in that software data set. So that is pretty powerful, that concept, and still very simple. So you gotta have that device ID, and that is created automatically by OT-Base. So that was basically what I wanted to talk about today. We will keep it brief. Just to give you an idea how you can take your Excel tables, if you happen to fancy Excel as your tool for OT asset inventories, just to the next level, and also gain insight from the data you have recorded, and also present to management. Just at some point in time, you will want to show them how many, let's just say, obsolete devices you have. You want to show them any devices with outdated operating system versions, for example, which is super easy. So let's just go back, top OS versions. Let's just say I want to single out Microsoft 7 Enterprise, and I would see right away how many I have. I have 10 devices that are running Microsoft Windows 7 Enterprise, and I have another 6 that are running Microsoft Windows 7 Professional. And then it would be super simple to identify what those devices are. Down here you see a tree map that reflects the geolocation of those devices, because we also allow you to code a location ID. So that is something that we cannot do automatically because we don't know about the location of any of these devices. But if you as the user provide this information, it's going to be processed and it's going to result in that tree map, where you would then see where particular devices that share characteristics such as outdated operating system, where are they actually located. So that gives you an idea of all those capabilities, and I think and I hope it might take your OT asset inventory efforts to the next level. We don't have any questions for today. Okay, so then I would say let's just keep it at that, and I'll see you again next week, same place, same time.